What's going on, friends? Welcome back to my channel. Today, I want to talk to you a little bit about my own story of being laid off at the age of 36. Let's give you a little backstory. At the age of 36, I was laid off my job, and I can remember it like it was yesterday. It was a spring morning. It was actually in the month of April. And I walked into the office as I usually do. I walked into my personal office, which I had finally made it professionally to have my own office, have a door, have somewhat of a corner office with windows. And so it was exciting to be growing in my profession in healthcare. And that particular morning, it was no different than any other particular morning, except for the fact that I heard a knock on my door. I had just finished eating a little bit of breakfast, and the knock on my door was my immediate supervisor, who was the attorney for the organization. And she said, "Hey, love to meet with you at noon today in the conference room." And I didn't think anything of it, but it was kind of surprising that she wanted to meet with me that particular day because we didn't have any scheduled meetings on the calendar. And so time went by, I did a little bit of work, and I ended up going to the meeting at noon. And when I walked in the conference room, HR was on one side, my supervisor was on another, and the CEO of the organization was in there. And so I immediately was thinking to myself, okay, this must be something serious because the CEO is in the boardroom, HR is in the boardroom, and my immediate supervisor is in the boardroom. And as the HR director proceeded to speak, basically, they decided that being the compliance officer of the organization was a position that they needed to eliminate for purposes of finances. And I was really not surprised, quite honestly. And here's why I was not surprised. I wasn't surprised because there had been a lot of conversation going on around the organization that there were some financial troubles going on. And I had been in this particular position as the corporate compliance officer for about 4 years at the time. And I knew that there were quite a few things going on because as the compliance officer, I have the responsibility of going through the medical operatories, making sure certain things are in place, making sure there's certain stock in place for the doctors and the nurses to perform their work, and then also just to do audits and different things. And I was noticing certain things were not in supply. I was noticing that certain things weren't where they were supposed to be. I was getting complaints from different staff at the particular center I was working at around not having enough supplies. And so I kind of had an idea that things were not the best. And so on that particular day, right after that meeting, basically they asked me to leave at that moment. They asked me to, if I could come back and get my things, if it was not too much to ask for me to just leave, go to lunch, and come back the next day to collect my things from the office since I was being laid off. And I would have to say that even though I wasn't surprised, I was disappointed. I was disappointed in the sense that I felt like I had enough relationship with individuals to be forewarned about the impending layoff. Now, this was not a huge organization, but it was a multi-million-dollar organization that basically cared for indigent patients, the underserved, low-income patients. And so I thought I had enough rapport with individuals, at least to have some kind of forewarning of the potential layoff. But what was interesting about being laid off was that I had been having certain emotions, certain changes even in my own mindset around the work that I was doing. Because I always felt like it was important to do work that you were purposed to do work that you had joy in doing each and every day, do work that you felt aligned and connected to. And I did enjoy the fact of the mission of the organization around just, serving the underserved, providing healthcare to low-income individuals in the community. But what I wasn't aligned with was the type of work that I was doing. Being in the office every day, looking at the computer, doing research, not necessarily being out and about, doing what I truly loved doing, which was training and development, which was teaching, which was sharing and connecting with individuals to help them do their best job, which actually was a part of the job, but I didn't necessarily get to do a lot of it that often. And so I had been having some challenges with the job myself and wanting to kind of step into my own purpose, to step into the work that I truly felt like I was called to do as a speaker, as a coach, as someone who was beginning to really think about being an entrepreneur. And so that particular day, I proceeded to go to lunch and I went to Panera Bread that day. And I remember it so clearly that when I walked in Panera Bread, it was packed. I mean, there were so many people in there. And in my head, I'm thinking, what is it that all these people do that they are in Panera Bread at this time of day, just kind of doing work on their laptops, kind of having conversations, having business meetings. And I love the energy that was going on. And that day, I'd made a decision to bet on myself. That day, I made a decision to bet on myself. Though it was unforeseen circumstances of being laid off, I did not take it as this is the end. I did not take it as something that was going to, take me under financially. I had a belief in myself in that moment that this didn't come to me to kill me. This didn't come to me to take me under. This didn't come to me to ruin my life. This came to me as a blessing. And I know a lot of times this is not what most people think about being laid off. This is not how most people think about losing their jobs because it's their livelihood. And it was my livelihood too. But I had a peace about it. And I think I had a peace about it because I knew that there was something better for me. Even though I was making great money, even though I had great benefits, even though I enjoyed the people that I work with, I knew that there was something better for me. And because I knew there was something better for me, I left thinking to myself, Markeith, bet on yourself. This is an opportunity for you to pursue what it is that you desire to do in life at the age of 36. I did everything that I was taught to do as a child, as a teenager, as a young adult. I went to school. I did the best that I could in school. I went to college, got a bachelor's degree. I went on and got my master's degree in public health and decided to start my career after finishing graduate school at the age of 26. I believe I was 26 when I finished graduate school. And over the course of that 10 years, I had multiple jobs. I started out in healthcare, left healthcare, went to education and taught high school science, was a track coach, and then ultimately ended up back in healthcare because education just was not paying me enough in order to pay back all of my student loans that I had from going to school. And so over the course of that 10-year period, I was trying to find that right fit for me. Over the course of that 10-year period, I believe I had 5 jobs over the course of that 10-year period. And when I look back on that, basically, I see that I was trying to identify what I was most aligned with when it came to work. Because one of the things I think that we get wrong or that we were taught as Gen Xers and millennials is that you find work first and then fit your life into the type of work that you do. And what I've come to learn is that it should be the opposite, that you decide on the type of life that you want to live, and then you identify the work that will fit fit into that lifestyle that you want to live. And I had a opportunity at the age of 36 to shift the way that I was taught. At the age of 36, I had an opportunity to shift the way that I was leading my life. And I decided to bet on myself. And betting on myself for me meant that I was going to pursue wanting to become an entrepreneur, as a speaker, as someone who was a consultant and a coach, helping other individuals really with making life decisions about the things that they wanted to do in life. Because so many of my friends, so many of the people I was surrounded around always complained about their work, always complained about not necessarily making enough money, or always complained about wanting to do more or wanting something different than what they were currently experiencing. And so I charted my course and started betting on myself. But there were challenges, of course, along the way. One of the main challenges that I had after losing my job, even though I wasn't necessarily terrified or didn't feel like I had clarity on what to do next, one of the things that I realized was that I was very connected to my job, very connected to my title. And so when I was no longer working for anyone and I would go to various events, networking events, it was a challenge for me to kind of share what it was that I did. Because for so long, up until that point of age 36, I always had a title that I could share with somebody. I always had an organization that I could share with somebody that I worked with. But what I began to understand as I was maturing was that I wasn't my job or I wasn't my title, but I was Markeith Braden. I was someone who was passionate about helping people. I was someone who was passionate about helping people see things in a different perspective or in a different way. I was passionate about helping people be their better and best self. I was passionate about being a light in people's lives. I was passionate about being inspiration in people's lives. And I didn't necessarily need a title to do any of that. And so it was important for me to go through this maturing and understanding that my job was just that. It was a job, that I wasn't my job and I wasn't my title, and that I didn't necessarily need a title to show up in the world. I didn't necessarily need an organization that I was connected to show up in the world, but that all I needed were the gifts and the talents that I was provided. And so as I was growing and maturing, I decided to go to graduate school again and enroll in divinity school. I live here in Nashville at Vanderbilt because I knew that I wanted to pursue more of the things that I felt like I was passionate about, that working that 9 to 5 and doing the work that I was doing did not allow me the opportunity to do it because I didn't necessarily have the time. And so I had more time to do some of the things. And yes, I ultimately ended up taking out some student loans. And I did divinity school for about a year and then ended up getting a position at a local church here in Nashville. And one of the things that I had, or one of the passions and dreams that I had in pursuing that, was that I felt like I could do ministry on one hand and be an entrepreneur and grow my business on the other. I felt like that they went together. I felt like that they were aligned based on the skills that I had, based on the gifts that I had as a speaker, as someone who was always told over the years that I had a good speaking voice, that I commanded attention when I walked in the room, and that people were always inspired when I shared certain stories. And so it's important for us to really begin to understand ourselves. And being laid off the job for me was an opportunity for me to learn more about me. Was an opportunity for me to get out of my comfort zone and step into what I believed I was truly gifted at doing. And so I launched my speaking career and launched into ministry as well. And for about 4 years, I did ministry and I grew my speaking business and coaching business. And so it's important that take time out to learn yourself. Even if you are working a job that you're not necessarily fully, connected to or fully aligned to, that you should take some time out to learn more about you. Because as you learn more about you, you'll realize that there is more for you. You'll understand why you might not necessarily be happy in the position that you're in. And so as we matured on and as we went along our journey over the years, I've since, stopped working full-time at the local church and have been a full-time entrepreneur as a content creator, as a speaker, as a podcaster, and as someone who is truly passionate about helping other people tap into their potential and to learn how to leverage that potential as a business, as a brand. And that's what I love to do. But had I not been laid off that job, I don't know that I would have had the opportunity even to be speaking to you right now. Had I not been laid off that job, I may have never tapped into my own potential. I may not have never tapped into the gift that I was given. And so I saw the job layoff as a blessing. Doesn't mean I didn't go through trying times. There were financial trying times. There's still some tight financial moments that I endure today. However, I still continue to bet on myself. It's one of the things that I tell myself each and every day. Markeith, bet on yourself. And there's so many opportunities that have come to me over the years since being laid off that I probably would have never had the opportunity to do. But I decided to bet on myself. And that's what I want to encourage you to do, is to bet on yourself. What are all of the things that you keep putting off because you feel like it's not the right time, or you feel like your job might be holding you back? Now, I'm not one who will encourage a person to quit a job and follow your dreams, but I am one to encourage you to put a plan in place if you're wanting to transition into starting your own business, wanting to transition into becoming a speaker, a coach, a consultant, a content creator, an influencer. Put your plan together while you still have that job. Look at your job as the donor or as the bankroller of you living your dream. Because let me tell you, it's not easy. Me not going back and getting a job, which sometimes I think, well, maybe I should have looked for another job and tried to build my business along the way. But it just wasn't my story, wasn't my case. I decided to struggle through. I decided to press my way through. And sometimes that's the case. But everybody's situation is different. So I wanted to kind of share that story with you today because I wanted you to know a little bit more about my story, know a little bit more about how I got to this place that I am, sharing with you on YouTube, sharing with you content in my shorts, and really pursuing this goal of being an online entrepreneur, one who teaches on personal branding, teaches people how to monetize their expertise and become thought leaders in their particular industry. Because this is a great space to be in. But being an entrepreneur, of course, is not for everybody. And I'm not saying that. But I do believe that everyone has an entrepreneurial spirit within them. Everyone has a level of expertise that if they learn how to position, package, and price, that they could too have a side hustle. They too could have a business that supports their lifestyle. And it's so important that you learn more about yourself. And me being laid off my job really helped me to learn more about me, really helped me to tap into who Markeith Braden was. And so I'm excited to continue on this journey. I'm excited to continue sharing with you. I'm excited to continue to, move forward and bet on myself. Before I end the video, I want to share just 3 tips that will help you to really get in alignment with what it is that you're passionate about, or 3 questions that I think you should answer as you are maybe considering making the transition from your 9-to-5 to becoming an entrepreneur. But these 3 questions are questions that I learned from one of my mentors, one of my coaches. And these were questions that really helped me to hone in on what I wanted to do with my life, what I was truly passionate about. And so here we go. Question number 1. What do you love doing so much that you do it for free, but you could get paid to do it? That's question number 1. Question number 2. What do you love doing so much that when you are doing it, you lose track of time while doing it? And question number 3. What do you love doing so much that when you do it, people are always acknowledging how good you are at it? I think I'm going to give you a bonus question. So 1 was, what do you love doing so much that you do it for free, but you could get paid to do it? Question number 2, what do you love doing so much that you lose track of time while you're doing it? Question number 3, what do you love doing so much that people are always complimenting you on how well and how good you do it? And bonus question number 4 is, what comes easy to you but hard for other people? What comes easy to you but hard for other people? Answer those 4 questions and you will really begin to unearth what you're truly passionate about. You really begin to unearth what you could potentially create a business around. For me, it is exactly what I'm doing today. I love teaching. I love sharing. I love speaking. I love to inspire. I love to motivate. I love to uplift people's mindsets. And that's why I'm here on YouTube. That's why I'm doing the things that I'm doing right now. Answer those 4 questions. Let me know what you come up with in the comments. Be sure to like and subscribe as I am building this channel. My goal is this year to reach 1,000 subscribers. My goal this year is to become monetized with this YouTube channel, because I believe that I am purposed to do exactly what I'm doing today. And so that's just a little bit of my own story, just to sharing my journey of being laid off at the age of 36 and stepping into entrepreneurship, betting on myself, and going after the work that I truly love to do, which is what I'm doing right now. I'm so excited to be sharing with you each week with a video, whether that be a vlog, whether that be sit down, just having conversation with you, whether that be an opportunity for me to teach on personal branding, how to build an online-based business. I'm going to be right here each and every week with at least 1 video a week, maybe 2, because I do have a podcast called the Maximize Your Brand podcast, which I'll be posting those podcast episodes on this channel as well. I want to engage with you. I want to share with you, and whatever questions you have, put them in the comments as well, and I'll be sure to answer your questions. This has been exciting for me to share with you today. I hope that someone was inspired. I hope somebody was motivated around following their purpose, betting on themselves, and just really being the best person you can be. Until next time, just remember this: keep creating and maximize your brand. Take care. Peace.